Welcome to our live chat today with Ryan Murray. I'm Bob McElligott, and taking your questions here today for Ryan as development camp is getting set to wind down for the skaters here. The goalies will go another couple of days, but Ryan, this development camp for you, first of all, it's been a good one because you've been able to get back out on the ice. You're fully healthy, cleared for contact, all of that stuff. How fun has the week been?
Yeah, it's been great to get back on the ice and just be in a locker room again and around the guys. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy camp. They got us doing some tough testing, but I mean that's the way it is at this level of hockey. And I was really excited just to get back into high intensity on the ice, and I think that it was great just to get that feel for the high intensity game again. So it was real fun. All
right, well, let's get to the questions here because we only have 30 minutes with you, so we'll get right to it. And the first question coming from where are we at here? CBJ Fanatic. There it is, right at the top. It says, you kind of just answered this, but what's it been like for you at development camp this year? And let me ask you from this standpoint, too. It's kind of another go-around here for you. So you were a little bit more familiar this time around, right?
Yeah, a little more familiar, a little more comfortable, know the trainers and the coaches a little better. But, it was good to get out there and, meet some of the new draft picks that are coming in and, just introduce yourself to those guys and see what they're like and, be on the ice with them. And it's always an exciting time just meeting all the new prospects and, I guess seeing who you're up against there in a spot. So.
Yeah, you're not the new guy anymore, right? Now there's plenty of new guys.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, our next comment comes from Murray's Back. It says, welcome back, Ryan. And what are you doing differently this year than you did last year to improve yourself?
Pretty much the same things, I think. Just working out in the summer right now, and haven't been on the ice a whole lot, to tell you the truth. I'm sure that'll pick up though while I'm here. But for the meantime, just making sure I'm hitting the gym, and I guess nutrition's been a bigger thing for me this year. I've learned a lot more about nutrition and eating right, and now that I'm living on my own, I go and buy my own groceries, so I really try and keep in mind what I'm eating and make sure that I'm eating healthy all the time.
And that was part of this development camp, wasn't it? There's been some cooking classes and nutrition to tell you how important that kind of stuff is. What have you taken out of that?
Yeah, we had nutrition last night. I don't cook until tonight, but we cooked last year. And yeah, they just kind of teach you, how to cook a steak, cook some shrimp, make salads, stuff like that. Good sauces, bad sauces for you. And it makes a huge difference when you're playing every night. You got to fuel your body the right way and take care of it the right way. So I think that's it's really getting stressed more these days is making sure you're eating right.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to go the other way, isn't it?
Yeah.
The next question says, this is from the Heartbreak Kid. Why are you wearing number 27 this year?
Well, I just showed up for this camp and they said that I was 27, so it's the number I've worn pretty much my whole life, and it was actually my brother's old number way back when, and when his jersey got too small for him, I put it on and it fit just right, so I've worn it ever since.
Parents like that.
Yeah.
When that jersey, trust me, I know, when that jersey can go from one to the next and you don't have to buy another one, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cannon Fodder says, which prospects are you forming a bond with at this development camp?
I know Boone Jenner from the World Juniors and a couple of under 18s, I think. So, I've hung out with him quite a bit, and just trying to talk to some of the newer guys that are there. I'm rooming with Ilari Millard, so I've got to know him and go for lunch with him a couple times, and he orders 3 times the amount of meals that I do. But no, I got to meet.
I was going to ask you if you look up to him because you pretty much have to.
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
He's a monster. Yeah. And we were out for dinner the other day, and he had to order 3 meals because he was so hungry. So no, it's been good to get to know some of the new guys. It's been fun.
Scott has the next question. He says, "What's the best thing about the city of Columbus for you?"
I just like how even downtown it's not too crowded, and you can drive around, and it just kind of feels like a small city, even though the population's pretty big to what I'm used to anyway in Saskatchewan. But I've seen more rush hour in Regina, Saskatchewan than I have here so far. So, I mean, it just has kind of that small town feel to it, and it's the land is a lot like home too. So it's a lot like I'm used to back home.
Next question coming up from Micah. It says, who was your favorite player growing up?
I really like Scott Niedermayer. He was a guy that my dad kind of pointed out to me when I was young and just said, watch him. And he wears 27 also, so that kind of worked out. But yeah, he was always a guy that I'd watch and look up to and kind of research a little bit. But he was always a guy that I kept my eye on and tried to learn from.
All right. Next comment is from Fro. It says, how is camp this year different from last year? And they did make some changes to this camp overall. So what's been different for you?
Yeah, it was quicker. It was 3 days this year instead of, I think it was 5 or 4 last year. So, you know, they just kind of, every day you're going through things and there's not a lot of rest, but I mean, I like it that you can just kind of get in there and crush through things. And there's also more classes. They had us in a financial class and then nutrition and cooking and all these different classes. We've got a CPR class later today. So they have all these different learning experiences that we can go through, and I think that's great for all of us to learn more about those things.
Next question says, who's the teammate that you're excited to play with when you play in the NHL?
You know, I'd say any of them. I would honestly say, you know, I got to make the team first. So, but you know, there's guys, you know, a guy like Marian Gaborik that got traded here last year. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, he's a superstar in the NHL, and those are the types of guys that you really look up to, and that you know, when you're playing video games, you're trading for him, or you're picking a team because of a guy like that. So I think it would be pretty cool to play with a guy like that. But obviously, I got my work cut out for me before I can do that.
Next up is hockey is back in C-Bus, and this is, I don't want to encourage this, but this is a rather smart way of doing it. Just lump up 3 questions in one thing here. It says, Ryan, are you enjoying Columbus this year, and what have you done outside of development camp, and have you visited anywhere?
I'm enjoying Columbus, yes. It is, you know, it's pretty humid though. A couple walking back and forth from the rink, you're getting pretty overheated, but you know, I don't mind it. I like the heat, but outside of development camp, we haven't had a lot of time, but I got here last week, so just moved into my apartment, and then we went out for a golf round at Kinsale there. Went out with Joe Hansen there, so that was fun. He took me out for a round of golf. I didn't shoot very well, but
oh, I was going to ask if you beat him.
No, he killed me.
Well, at least he was nice enough to take you out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And plus, you're going to be here for a couple of weeks now. You're going to spend the summer here, so
yeah,
you'll have more opportunities to get out and do some things.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't really seen much. The only time I've been here is pretty much when I was living downtown. So get my car here next week, so I'll be able to visit a few more places.
There we go. Next one is from Murray's Mayhem. Is Hot Tub Time Machine still your favorite movie?
I don't know. I've got a couple. It's in my top 3 though, probably. That new one, that James Franco, This Is the End. That's right up there now too.
That's up there?
Yeah.
You don't get nervous getting in the hot tub at any time in the room, right?
Oh no.
Not afraid to go back in time?
No, not at all.
Next one is, what is your favorite song? And in all capital letters, it is spelled out right now.
Right now. You know, I'm actually a big Bob Dylan fan. I'm an oldies fan and Eagles fan, but I just set my alarm to Bob Seger Main Street, so that's probably my favorite song right now. I'm into that one.
Very nice. You know what? I haven't heard enough Seger lately. Seriously. And the Eagles are out on tour this summer, right?
Are they?
I think.
I don't know.
I believe. We got to get you out. We got to get you out. CBJ Forever says, name one aspect of your game that you would like to improve the most.
Obviously all of them, but I'd also like to you know, improve my shot from the point. Skating is obviously a huge thing, and you can never stop improving on that and never stop sharpening that skill. But you know, I'd really like to work on my shot from the point. I think that's, you know, a big, you know, when you get to the NHL level, those guys can rip it from anywhere, and so I want to be able to you know, make a big impact from the point.
Here's a question for you from Richard. It says, what turned you into a defenseman instead of a forward or a goaltender?
When I was younger, I actually wanted to play goalie, and my dad wouldn't let me. I played one game, and he told me I couldn't anymore, which is probably a good thing. But I
was it because you were bad, or because he didn't want you to play that position?
He just didn't want me to play that position. I think too expensive for parents. But yeah, forward. I was a forward for a couple years in minor hockey, and I was pretty undersized. So my dad said, if you're going to be this small, you got to be a forward. And then I grew a little more, so I went back on D and been there ever since.
I always ask myself why I did it the other way. I had one that I should have kept out of goal, and I let go into the goal. It's because when he was playing defense, he was always standing right in front of the goalie anyway. You didn't do that, did you?
I can't even remember if I did or not. I hope not.
Here's what it says. How has the adjustment period been to Columbus from playing in the Northwest? I imagine the last 2 weeks have been similar with all the rain.
Yeah, it has been a little bit cloudy and rain. That's what we had a lot in Everett in the Northwest there. But I guess I'm used to it. It doesn't get as hot out there as it does here. But yeah, landscape's quite a bit different out here. It's a lot flatter, not as many pine trees all over the place. But no, I like it. This is a lot like home, and this is what I'm more used to than over there. So I like it here.
All right, Nate would like to know: have you had any contact at development camp yet, and how did it feel on your shoulder?
A little bit of contact. There wasn't much though. Just little bumps here and there, kind of when we're doing some little mini games and stuff. And I really couldn't tell. It felt the exact same, and took a hard spill into the boards once too. Lost an edge, so it felt good the whole time. So that's a good sign.
Was it important for you to get out there and maybe get a little bit of contact? And I know you'll get a lot more when you get into regular training camp, but how much of that sits in the back of your mind where maybe you want to get hit, maybe you want to take a little jarring there just to see how you feel after?
Yeah, I mean, I want to test it out. I want to make sure that it's 100% and that I don't have any problems with it. So, I was really looking forward to coming back and playing some contact hockey, because I haven't in, it's been probably 8 months since I've taken a hit. So it's fun to just get back in there and get back into a corner with guys.
Was it like, how disappointed were you when that happened? I mean, your season comes to an end early on. You can't even play anymore, and that I know you wanted to finish strong in your junior career and all of those things. So how tough was that for you to deal with mentally?
Yeah, I didn't really, when it first happened, I couldn't really believe it, but I knew that it was out, and I knew that I had a big problem on my hands. And it's happens to guys every year, so it's just another part of the game that you have to deal with. And if you play your whole career without any injuries, then that's pretty amazing. So hopefully I got them all out of the way now.
Did it affect your guitar playing?
A little bit for a couple months, but first couple months I had it in a sling. I couldn't move it. It was just locked up beside me for probably about a month and a half. So that prohibited a bit.
Yeah, that would do it, right?
Yeah.
Grace Axelson has the next comment. What do you think you can bring to the Blue Jackets organization, both on and off the ice?
I like to think of myself as like a two-way defenseman. I like to take care of my own end first, and then just pitch in offensively whenever I can. And sometimes take risks, but I'm not a huge risk taker on the ice. I just want to work as hard as I can, just to get a spot first, and then try and be as much of an impact as I can every night.
You've brought that up a couple of times, getting a spot. I think some people have they feel that you show up, you get a spot. You obviously don't feel like that. It's going to be a competition for you to make this team. Absolutely.
There's no free rides, and they don't just hand out spots. You gotta earn one, and there's so many players that are capable of playing, but it's the ones that are going to make an impact, that are going to stick. So I want to be one of those guys. You don't want to be in and out of the lineup every night, or be up and down. I want to be able to stick, and hopefully I can prepare myself good enough this summer, and work on my game as much as I can, come in at the best shape as possible, and hopefully I can stick the whole year.
All right, the next question for you: do you have a pre-game ritual?
Kind of a few things. It's been a while since I played a game. Trying to remember.
Go back deep in your mind. If you have to get in the hot tub time machine to go back to the last time you played. Do you remember this?
I usually put everything on left to right. That's one thing that I always do. I don't know when I started that, but a little bit of superstition there. But kind of the same thing, tape the sticks, clear the visor, everything that everybody does to get ready. And then the only thing I do is just left to right all the time. I always eat pasta, usually some chicken, pregame nap all the time. That's about it.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty casual.
That's good enough. Yeah, you seem like a casual kind of guy anyway, right? Simple. Columbus Joe's has the next question. What do you think about Nathan Horton signing with the Blue Jackets?
I think that's huge. I mean, it's a big free agent signing, and I think that getting a guy like Gabrick last year would have been, pretty big for that signing as well. And, it's good to see that, a free agent like that would want to play here. And, it's good for a young guy like me that guys are making commitments, and, he signs a 7-year deal. So, hopefully he'll be here for a while. And, it's just good to see for the organization and the city as well. I mean, the Jackets look like they're really on the rise here with also 3 first-round picks this year. So, it looks like things are really on the way up. And how the season ended last year, I mean, if get a start like that again this year, I mean, good things are sure to happen. So,
let's go back to last year's draft, last summer. You're picked by a team that finished 30th in the league. You're drafting 2nd overall. We've talked about your season, how it came to a premature end. You had the lockout, you had the shortened season. All of a sudden, here you are sitting here talking about the excitement of Nathan Horton signing, the great finish last year. I mean, even you as a player, when you get drafted from a team that finished dead last, are you expecting the turnaround to come as quickly as this organization has had to turn around?
I don't think at all, no. I mean, you kind of expect, you see a lot of guys drafted in the top couple, and, they're in the basement for the first couple of years. But, I mean, being around the team last year, I was down six weeks rehabbing my shoulder, and that was right around the end of the year. And just seeing the city kind of go nuts about them, and, they were just playing so well. They were pretty much unbeatable. And, for a guy like me coming in, it's really exciting to see that. And I just want to work as hard as I can so I can be a part of that.
All right, let's get another question here. Ben says, first of all, welcome back to Columbus. And for those of us that only saw you play during the World Championships, can you describe what type of game that you play on defense?
I just like to take care of my own end first, pretty much. And I'm not a real physical guy. Play a lot of stick work and good positioning to play defense. And I like to think of myself as a hard-working guy on the ice, and I try and do whatever I can offensively whenever the opportunities come up. But I like to stay home first and make sure that end's taken care of before I get too carried away offensively.
What challenges do you expect to have playing that kind of a game in having to be so positionally sound in the NHL as opposed to junior or even the World Championships? What kind of a challenge is that going to be like for you to grasp and learn and then execute?
Well, yeah, it's a step up. I mean, it's the highest level in the world, so everything's quicker. Guys are better. They're smarter. They move the puck quicker. They're harder to move, and for a D-man, good positioning is going to be pretty key for me. Being an average-sized guy, just being in good position all the time, making sure that nobody's got a step on you is going to be key for me to survive. And that's something that I really want to keep in mind, because at this level, everybody's so good. You really got to be on your toes all the time. How
valuable do you feel it's going to be to have a guy like Craig Hartsburg here and on the bench in helping you make that adjustment, since you've got a relationship with him?
Yeah, he coached me in Everett for a couple years there, and he really knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. He played a lot of years in the league for Minnesota, so he knows what he's talking about. And he's a guy that you listen to every day in practice. He's always got small tips here or there, and it's really good to have a guy like that on the bench that you can learn from.
All right, let's get another question here. This is from the General Guy 2. General Guy 2. There's more than one General Guy. Are you excited for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I've been out for so long. I'm excited to just hit a training camp and get going again, and play some real hockey again. It's been such a long wait, so I'm really excited to get back into it.
All right, next one is from I Wanna Rock. Which defenseman would you most like to be paired up with? I know you're going to say any of them. Come on, pick a guy. Just pick a guy.
It would be any of them, but I've watched James Wisniewski quite a bit. He's a right-handed guy. He's real solid defensively, and he's got a bomb from the point. So I'd like to go D-to-D to him a few times and let him watch him ripping on net. Maybe pick up a couple of second apples or something.
You know what's funny too about that pick? Of all the guys that are out there, he's the one guy that I could see, if he saw this and you didn't pick him, saying, "Why don't you pick me?
Yeah.
What about me?" Right? He said
he might be. Yeah.
No, he's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy. He would be good for you, though, I think.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good matchup. When you talk about your game and his game, and I'm not a coach, I'm not going to put you guys together, but you would think on paper that's something that could mesh.
Yeah, I mean, the top four is a pretty tough thing to crack right now, just because they're all real veteran defensemen. But you know, just guys like that even if you're not playing with them, you can still watch them and, you know, maybe get in a couple practice rounds with them or something. But it's guys like that you really learn from, and you know, you just watch in and out every single day in the locker room and lifting weights, doing whatever. Guys like you know, Wisniewski and Johnson and Tootin and Nikita, they're guys that you just watch and you learn from every single day. So I'm looking forward to being around those guys, and hopefully I can be around them all year.
All right, our next question is from R. Baker 686. Sounds more like a license plate than a handle there, but do you have a favorite restaurant in Columbus?
Radizio.
That was
right
quick.
Across the street.
That was
Love it.
You've got it made when
Yeah.
you come into camps like this, right? I mean, you walk a block and a half, you get to the rink, there's restaurants, there's all of that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I love it there. Unlimited meat, and you know, you just sit there and it's the best thing is they just cut it up for you too, and you just got these little slivers of meat, so it tastes even better.
You turn the card there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're constantly
So they
card
just
turning?
keep bringing them around, you just keep eating.
Tony T wants to know, what do you think is the best part of your personal game?
I would probably say either skating or maybe passing. I like to think of myself as a good skater, and most of the time I can make a good pass out of my own end or somewhere on the ice. But you know, those are things that I also got to keep working on too. But I think that if I was going to say my top parts of my game, I'd say those two.
All right. Matt would like to know, what team are you looking forward to playing the most?
Really, any team. I don't know. I don't have a preference, because, you know, if you pick a team with a bunch of all-stars that that are your idols, I guess, you know, they're probably going to end up, you know, making you look bad or something. So, I don't.
Okay, growing up, where was your focus?
Growing up,
Yeah.
I really like the Canadian teams. The Flames were kind of a team that me and my brother cheered for anyway, and you know, I think that it would be cool to play against a team like that you watched growing up so much.
You know, I know this happens to every guy. It's got to happen to every guy. You get out on the ice and you start playing against guys that you've watched and you've only seen them on TV, and that, as you said, kind of idol type guys. How much are you looking at that and wondering how long it takes to get over? I guess you don't have a lot of time to get over that.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting there looking at them like idolizing them, they're going to beat you and the puck will be in the back of the net.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I've thought about that a lot, actually. You know, playing against all the superstars and stuff, and being on the same ice surface as those guys, and definitely weird. It's definitely weird growing up your whole life watching these guys, and then all of a sudden you're playing against them. So I'm sure that it'll be something that I'm going to have to get over quickly, though.
Yeah. If you're admiring Sidney Crosby's game,
yeah, you probably don't want to.
and you're in the same division, that's not something you want to have happen, right?
Yeah.
Ed would like to know, what has been the most challenging thing that you have had to do at camp this year?
Mile-and-a-half run. It's the most challenging every year, I'd say.
And that was on a humid day.
Yeah, it was very hot that day, and yeah, they just line everybody up and take 6 laps as fast as you can. So, not something that I enjoy doing, but obviously it's something that you got to do and try and do your best at.
All right, next question comes from This or That. Somebody's been watching Jackets TV, I guess, to pick that one up. Toaster strudel or Pop-Tarts?
Never had a toaster strudel, so I'm going to have to go with Pop-Tarts.
Never had a toaster strudel?
No, never.
You know what? It's a little bit more work. I think it's worth it, but it's a little bit more work. Pop-Tarts, you can just just go, right? Grab and go.
Yeah.
It's not. Toaster strudel, you got to toast the darn thing, for crying out loud. What's your favorite sports movie? Mike would like to know.
I think Miracle. Love that movie. Underdog team, go all the way and knock off the Kings there from Russia. So obviously, you know, Canada, Russia's a big thing, but I mean, for the U.S. that year with a bunch of college guys to go and beat Russia, and it's obviously 100% true story. So I think that's probably my favorite movie there.
It's a 100% true story, but as a player watching that movie, I mean, there's some Hollywood in it,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
right? But how many parts of it did you feel like, yeah, this is real? This is what it would be like?
I think just like all the young guys kind of going into the room and looking what they're up against, all these superstars, and these are all just a bunch of college kids that are, they say that they can't win against them, and they kind of get their butts kicked the first time they play them, and then the next time around they really kill, or they beat them. So it's just kind of like doing the unthinkable, and that's happens every year in hockey when things like that happen. Maybe not to that extent, but there's always times when you're down in a game or something you don't think that you can win, and you do. So I think that's one of the greatest feelings in hockey, just being an underdog and making comebacks like that.
Yeah, and you unfortunately you didn't witness it from the bench, but you witnessed it a lot from the press box last year, as you said earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy watching those guys. Every team that came in here, they couldn't beat them. And back home on TSN when I was injured, they always said that they were the hardest working team in the league, and it really paid off for them in the end.
Absolutely. Scott would like to know, how often do you still play your guitar?
Usually every day. Usually I just pick it up, and in the summer especially, because just working out in the morning, and then in the afternoon you got all afternoon off to do whatever you want. So I usually just hang out for a bit and just play a couple tunes and then get on with my day. But I like just sitting down for a little bit and playing it.
When you sit down and play, are you playing established songs, or do you create it all?
Bit of both. I kind of screw around a little bit and mix songs up, and it gets kind of boring when you're just playing somebody else's song all the time. So I like kind of mixing it up a bit.
Yeah, but not close to going on an open stage night or anything.
No, not at all.
Mac would like to know, well, you kind of addressed this, but what did you think of the Blue Jackets season last year?
Yeah, they just, from what I saw anyway, they just had a slow start, and they just really cranked it up in the second half. And it was just awesome to watch that, and kind of be around the locker room all the time with them, and even just watching from the stands, it was just really exciting to see, and see all the fans, and a couple sellouts there in the second half too. I mean, it was just awesome to see the atmosphere in the building, and everybody was just so excited about it. So just great to see that the team did that well in the second half, and probably should have made the playoffs, and it's just great that they made that many strides last season.
Winston would like to know, you talked earlier about Scott Niedermayer was a guy that you watched a lot when you were younger, but what current NHLer do you try to model your game after?
I really like Duncan Keith. I like, he's a good skater. He's always in position. He's not a real physical guy, and he just moves the puck extremely well. I got a chance to play with him at the World Championships for a bit, and it's just amazing. I just, every time I just give him the puck, and he'd make something happen with it. So, guy like that you can really learn from as well. And if I could be the player that he is, that would be a dream come true. So that's something that I want to do, and I want to work towards.
Well, Just Chill would like to know, what is your favorite thing to do in your downtime?
Usually just hang out with friends, or back home, go hunting a little bit, or there's not a lot of, during the season, it's kind of you just hang out, maybe watch movies, and you're usually just resting all the time, or most of the time. But during the summer, I like going out and golfing, and hanging out with my friends all the time, and I like going out and doing stuff all the time. But during the year, sometimes you just want to kind of hang out and watch movies, watch TV series, or just kind of relax most of the time.
Some days, those days between games are just leave me alone days, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you see your teammates so much during the course of the year too, that sometimes you just need time to yourself.
Absolutely. Frank would like to know, what advice do you have for younger players who want to get to where you are someday?
I'd say just enjoy the game, just love it and play it, and everyone that says work hard, but it doesn't really seem like work if you enjoy it all. So there's obviously some things that you're not going to enjoy as you get older, but as a young player, I mean, just love the game. And me growing up, I never thought that I'd ever be in this position. I thought that I just liked playing hockey, and that was what a lot of young kids like to do. So just enjoy it, and if you end up where I am, that's great. And if you don't, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I played with that they have their lives now, and it's just two very different sides. But I mean, everyone loves the game when they're young, so just keep it alive and never say never, I guess.
And all those guys can live vicariously through you now.
I guess so. Yeah.
They can follow your career, right? And still play, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Still have fun. Still
I mean,
play.
all my friends, they still play. Rec hockey, and when I go home, they're all still playing, and they really enjoy it. They just love the game. So
they just won't invite you to play anymore. You're too good for them.
I mean, no, I don't think it really matters where you get to. If you love the game, then that's a success.
All right, I'm trying to figure out if this next title, like everybody gives themselves a name. This one says, the question is from me. I can't figure if that's just too lazy to make up something, but I can't read it and say it's from me because that sounds weird. If you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, man.
Of course, you could just go over to the steakhouse and sit there for the rest of your life, and they would just bring it.
I'd probably just camp up out there. Probably like a steak or something. I think that would be that'd be a good option. I don't want to go with chips or something. That might not work out too well.
No. What is this? Larseval says, what is your dream car?
Dream car? I haven't really looked at cars all that much. I'm kind of I drive a Jeep right now, but if I was to buy something new, I'd probably get a truck, to tell you the truth. Those new Ford Raptors are pretty cool. If you get see a couple of those decked out around town, so those are cool vehicles.
All right, so well, that's going to bring it to an end. Our chat here today. Thanks for taking some time and sitting down here. I know it's been a busy schedule for you this week, and I know that you have a lot more busy work to do before training camp, but it is great to see you healthy, great to see you back on the ice, and best of luck to you as you prepare for that September training camp.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, that's Ryan Murray. He wants to be a Blue Jackets defenseman in October when the regular camp breaks, and he's going to take every stride to do just that. Thanks for tuning in today, and thanks for sending your questions. I'm Bob McElligott, and we'll talk again soon.